The UFC's growth into one of the world's leading sports franchises has come, in part, behind a steady push to expand their market across the globe. The promotion has built a performance institute in Shanghai and runs seasons of their Ultimate Fighter TV show featuring athletes from Brazil, Latin America, the UK, and Australia. Their Road to UFC Japan show back in 2015 brought in a variety of new faces from one of MMA's traditional hotbeds. And alongside these more direct marketing methods, the UFC has worked to secure TV deals for their product that ensure fans can watch the promotion just about anywhere in the world. And while efforts at expansion may have had to take a back seat in 2020, a whole new potential frontier for the promotion appears to be rising to the forefront. Although few fighters at the international level live or train in the continent full-time, Africa has seen an increasingly powerful representation among MMA's elite. What up guys, Shaquille Madjouri here for Combat Culture, and just a quick reminder before we get started, if you could please hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and leave a like on this video. Can't tell you how much that does for us. Now, without further ado, let's take a moment to celebrate the kings of MMA from the continent of Africa. Nigerian-born fighters like Kamaru Usman and Israel Adesanya have both run up the ranks of the world's largest mixed martial arts promotion to capture gold and defend it to impressive results. At heavyweight, Francis Ngannou has carved out his space as a perennial title contender and fearsome power puncher. These fighters have all taken dramatically different paths to the octagon, but the end results tell the same story. There's a wealth of untapped potential waiting in one of the world's most populous regions. Perhaps no one sells that message better than Ngannou. The 6'4" Cameroonian spent his teen years working in a sand quarry, doing backbreaking manual labor. He reportedly didn't even set foot in a fighting gym until he was 22 years old, hoping to become a professional boxer. Homeless when he arrived on the streets of Paris at 26, he didn't start his journey into mixed martial arts until he was running up on 30. 7 years after making his MMA debut, Ngannou, now 15-3, is primed for his second UFC title shot. He's run through heavyweight competition at a staggering pace, only seeing the outside of round 1 4 times over 12 trips to the octagon. For Adesanya, his childhood in Nigeria and Ghana led down a very different path. While he had some early training in Taekwondo, the last style bender didn't start training martial arts in earnest until he was into his late teens, turning to kickboxing after years of bullying as a high school student in his adopted homeland of New Zealand. That decision to jump into a career inside the ring worked out exceptionally well for the middleweight champion. Adesanya put together a fantastic 75-5 record fighting on the international kickboxing circuit, competing and winning at the highest levels of the sport. Even today, Izzy remains one of the few true peak performing kickboxing or boxing stars to cross over into MMA at the peak of his prowess. Just under 3 years removed from his UFC debut, Adesanya has run out his record to 20-0 in MMA and captured a world championship. If those paths for Ngannou and Adesanya were unconventional, Kamaru Usman's road to MMA stardom could not be a more well-trodden path. Born in Auchi, Nigeria, Usman moved to the United States with his family at age 8. A half-decade later, and he was trying out for the high school wrestling team. By age 23, he was an NCAA Division II national champion and multiple-time All-American. Usman's wrestling career didn't lead straight to fighting, however. After college, he hoped to make the 2012 US Olympic freestyle wrestling team. Injuries stymied that dream, and mixed martial arts was the gain from wrestling's loss. Usman started his MMA career like so many others, fighting on small shows around the US. After running out to a 5-1 record with all 5 wins coming by TKO, he entered the Ultimate Fighter Season 21, American Top Team vs. Blachowicz, as a member of the Glenn Robinson-led camp. Usman went undefeated on the show, eventually earning the title of the Ultimate Fighter champ with a victory over Haider Hassan on the season finale. That win kicked Usman's MMA career into full gear, and he hasn't lost a fight since 2013, currently riding a 16-fight unbeaten streak, including a belt-winning victory over Tyron Woodley in 2019 and defenses against Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. 3 paths to UFC greatness for 3 fighters out of one of the most underrepresented parts of the the MMA world. That is an image that's slowly changing, not just through the success of Usman, Adesanya, and Ngannou. The UFC has been seeing a steady stream of fighters find their way from the continent into the octagon and now claim more than a dozen fighters from countries across Africa among their ever-growing roster. Prospects like Mark Jacasey, Youssef Zalal, and Sadiq Youssef, and Tafon Nchukwi, who followed the model of their more famous counterparts, fighting out of home bases in other parts of the world. But also fighters like Dorikus Duplessis, Don Madge, and Dalcha Lungi Ambula, who came up fighting on the South African regional scene in EFC Worldwide and still live and train in the country. In recent years, Dana White has even teased that the UFC might be bringing their business down to South Africa, extolling the interest in MMA that already exists in the country. Quote, "The sport has been big in Africa for a while," White told reporters in 2019. "I mean, that's why these guys are popping up, because we had a television deal in Africa for a while." Quote, "I'm just saying there is a market there. It is real, and yes, we can and probably will do a fight there." In 2020, Francis Ngannou backed up White's idea of bringing the UFC to Africa, telling reporters that he thought the promotion would either wind up in Nigeria or Cameroon, especially with Usman and Adesanya hailing as champions. Quote, "I think if they're about to go to Africa, they should honor those fighters," Ngannou said of a potential UFC even on the continent. Quote, "I mean, that's what we've been fighting for, the UFC to really put Africa on the map, to consider the fact that Africa is part of the UFC too." The Predator says he's made it his mission to bring MMA to Africa and hopes to travel to Rwanda soon to start putting the pieces in place to establish a broader foothold for MMA in the region. Quote, "It's not strange anymore that kids from my country, my village, can dream to be fighters. It seems normal because they have someone to relate to," Ngannou told Rwanda's New Times in November of 2020. Quote, "So my next step is to give that chance to as many young people as possible in Africa. I want to put Africa on the MMA map." Adesanya echoed Ngannou's enthusiasm, speaking to media in a UFC 253 press conference as well. Quote, "I like the fact that Nigeria, especially in getting privy to MMA, because I'm telling you, man, it's game over. Like 50 Cent did when he dropped Inda Club for the rap game, it's over when Nigeria starts taking over again." With the current host of travel, events, and even training restrictions in place from the ongoing situation, we'll call it, there's no telling just how long it might be before the UFC starts stretching out to new international locations again. But when they do, it seems likely that a trip to the African continent would be high on their list. And until then, expect to see more and more African fighters finding their way to the UFC. And that is all for today's video. Let us know in the comments section, folks, which of these three incredible athletes do you think has the highest ceiling? Is it Israel Adesanya? Is it Kamaru Usman? Or is it Francis Ngannou? Plus, we'd love to hear who you think will be the next great UFC champion from the continent of Africa. If you enjoy what we do here, the best way you can help, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a thumbs up on the video. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Shaq_Fu. That's Shaq with a K. Most importantly, stay safe, guys. We got a great lineup of fights coming up, so enjoy, and we'll catch you next time right here on Combat Culture.